worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. So, quickly, this is part 2 of everything we use is harmful or kills. All right. So we were talking about things in our houses, right? In our homes. And I talked about the wiring, talked about the paint that you'll find in various places, obviously, throughout your house. I talked about the wood and the fact that we've had to kill in order to obtain the wood. Obviously, the first two are harmful to us. Let's talk about your carpeting. Okay? The carpeting, in terms of the textiles used for that, can vary greatly. And honestly may or may not be harmful in terms of how they are sourced. Often we do find wool involved, which obviously comes from animals who, if given a vote, I certainly wouldn't necessarily volunteer their wool for our purposes, right? But at any rate, one thing we often find in our carpets are dyes, right? Artificial dyes that are certainly harmful to human beings, unfortunately. Folks, all this, all these regulations that offer us these safety ranges, right? Well, this falls within a safe range, or that falls within a safe range. No range is acceptable when it comes to harmful toxins, calcification agents, any chemicals introduced into an area of our lives that really should be natural is unacceptable. And we have to start looking at it that way, right? So certainly those dyes in the carpet. Let's talk about our linen, right? Our sheets, our towels. Often they all contain dyes, which we are establishing that the dyes are harmful, at least to some degree, to us as human beings. And the wool, we've talked about how that taken from those animals, the sheep, is a form of harming them, right? Our clothing. Most often our clothing is made of leather, which is quite obviously harmful to cattle, right? Or what other source of, or what other animal they're obtaining that leather from. So let's talk about, for the ladies, all your beauty products. Most of them across the board have very harmful artificial ingredients. Hey son, peace, love, respect. My oldest son. That's my man. There he goes. Going in. All right. So, yeah, we have all around us constantly toxic sources, or sources of toxicity around us. Our clothing that we're wearing, is likely containing some dyes that are toxic and is involved in being sourced or obtained from some animal in a harmful way, right? Our food. Folks, if you got meat in your refrigerator, you're killing animals to obtain it. Peace, love, respect. And that's something that's not acceptable from an ecological perspective. No judgment, but it's still, we can't get away from the fact that it is harmful to the animals, obviously killing them as well. So, yeah. The glass products around us might actually be one of the more pure things around us if it's a pure glass. Often they're stained with something toxic, and then that's out the window, right? But the plastics certainly are bountiful all around us, and they are very harmful and often provide quite a bit of litter, which we know how big of a problem that is environmentally. It might have been easier to try to find some things around a shorter list to try to find what's not toxic. Just about all of our clothing, right? Just about all of our food, just about all of our water contains harmful chemicals, unacceptable lead levels, which again, there's that acceptable range that has been prescribed for us, right? If you ask me, our children, our families shouldn't have to drink any lead in our water, nor chlorine, right? Because they want to keep recycling water that is sewage water, right? And other chemicals that they use for that process. How much of the trace of those chemicals is still in the water when it leaves the sewage treatment plants, right? Then we find that there are these, we find some really nefarious things like this aspartame, I believe is the name of the chemical, aspartame it might be, which is a harmful toxin that actually disrupts hormonal function, creates hormone imbalances, and often studies show results in homosexuality in instances where perhaps it may not have. And to me, if that's brought about chemically, then there's an issue there. Certainly nothing against anyone's preference. Trying to think of some of the other things I haven't covered yet. Our vehicles, right? When we get in our cars, particularly since they came up with the uni-weld system, where essentially the driver's seat is hard welded into the chassis, which it previously had not been. It was previously only bolted in, which they stated for safety issues actually would be something that is an issue that might be worse than the safety they were trying to bring about. The issue is that every time you start your car and you get your alternator running, well, now you're creating another one of those electromagnetic fields that is in fact a low vibrational frequency field and is harmful to you. And with the chassis and all this uni-weld, the conductivity is increased several fold, right? So, you're really exposed to a lot just getting in your car and starting it up, let alone all the tech that they've got in these cars now, right?